Chapter 61, Attack. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Obviously, they also sensed a crisis. If the Green Bull Demon Lord is allowed to return to his peak, and this blood sacrifice continues, even as a holy land, they may suffer disaster, and they will choose to join forces without hesitation in the face of this great right and wrong, kill the devil together. After the saint left, there was still silence over the Snow Mountain Palace, the master of the Xianwang Palace. The leader of Fuyue's sect. There are also leaders of other forces with blazing eyes. Since the saints have taken action, the Green Bull Demon Lord should not survive. Even if he survives, he will not be able to threaten them again. Ha ha. I knew the 6 holy lands would not sit idly by and watch, that the master of the Xianwang Palace said enthusiastically. How about taking this opportunity to exchange items with each other so that we can support each other in times of crisis? Lu Nanshan's expression was calm, and he saw a slight disdain in the eyes of the master of the Xianwang Palace. He couldn't help but jumped when he heard that the 6 holy lands ignored him. Now he jumped out immediately when he saw the saint chasing after him, but still agreed to his request. After all, the emergence of demons is a huge problem. A Blue Bull Demon King, who knows how many people could be involved behind the scenes. The practice methods of the demon cult are too evil. Only continuous blood sacrifices are needed to continuously gain cultivation, allowing those with ordinary talents and cut off cultivation paths to see the hope of rising, and they will practice regardless of anything. In the later stages of cultivation, this kind of magic will affect the mind and become I only know that the murderous demon is a forbidden art and the source of disaster. That the leader of the Tianji sect also nodded. Exchanging objects to support each other is undoubtedly the best way. If the blood sacrifice of the Blue Bull Demon Lord is allowed, it may even threaten them. Even if the saint is chasing him personally, he still has uneasiness in his heart, and the master of the Xianwang Palace. The request is still reasonable, let them approve it. Ichiban swaps objects. Immortal sect, Tianji sect, Goddess sect. They have received favor from many top forces. In particular, the Zhenwu sect has been favored by various forces and wants to have a relationship with it. After all, the Zhenwu sect's reputation as the #1 force in the eastern region is not in vain. On the contrary, Donglin sect was reduced to the edge of exclusion at this time, and all the forces tacitly avoided Donglin sect, because in the eyes of the master of the Xianwang Palace and others, Donglin sect was almost the same as them, and the only one who still had the upper hand. There is a saint from Donglin sect who is about to be enthroned. How will he be different from them once he is enthroned? What is the use of such forces exchanging objects? The Green Bull Demon King arrives to kill. Could it be that based on their request, Donglin sect will send strong men? Even if they do send strong men, they will die. Without a saint sitting in charge, there is no value in making friends. Chu Xun took this scene in his eyes, and his mood was particularly calm. He was not angry because the dogs of these forces looked down on others. Whether it was the self-cultivation of the Sutra Pavilion or the strength of his own cultivation, he had long been shielded from these. Elder Chu. This is the mark of my goddess sect. Is it convenient to exchange? Chu Yaoyao from the goddess sect moved lightly, and her movement attracted the attention of many people. After all, Chu Yaoyao had the honorary title of one of the 3 goddesses in the eastern region. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also called a stunning woman. Her identity is even more exciting. She is one of the sect masters of the 6 holy places. If she can control her, she will be the ultimate in life. It's a pity that Chu Yaoyao has too high standards and has never favored a man in her life. Her cultivation and status also make her qualified to be arrogant. Chu Xun took the token in his hand. Unexpectedly, the first person to throw out an olive branch was the goddess sect, and she also saw the clarity and purity in Chu Yaoyao's beautiful eyes. At least at this moment, there were no distracting thoughts. I just want to exchange items. Snort. Qin Yu of the immortal sect had sharp pupils, was wearing a golden battle armor, and was holding a golden spear tightly in his hand. The fighting spirit emanating from his body made the lively exchange place quickly become cold. The master of the Xianwang Palace, the leader of Fuyue's sect, the leaders of these top forces have all heard of the grievances between the 2 sections. Unexpectedly, at this juncture, as soon as everyone exchanged, the leader of the immortal sect started to attack. Elder Chu, if you are not outside Donglin sect today, your saint will not be able to revive. I am very curious who gave you the courage to come here. Immortal sect Qin Yu sneered. Earlier, they planned to have the saint of Donglin sect pass away before launching an attack, but since Chu Xun came here to die in person, it was no wonder that he was to blame. Chu Yaoyao frowned slightly and said, "What grievances you two have, can't we leave it to that day? Now that the Green Bull Demon Lord has appeared in this world, if he spreads his skills wantonly and recruits believers, there will be chaos in the Eastern Territory soon. You two, we are all the top experts in the Eastern region, so we shouldn't be at war with each other at this time." "The two of us?" Qin Yu sneered. "Is he worthy?" That the body's cultivation level exploded, the 8 realms of the human emperor, the 9 realms of the human emperor, the peak of the 9 realms of the human emperor. At this moment, Qin Yu was high-spirited and domineering. He was wearing a golden battle armor and holding a spear. The pressure he unleashed made the master of the Xianxia Palace, the master of the Fuyue sect and others feel intense pressure, and they were shocked and said, "It's too strong." That the leader of Tianji sect, the leader of the Xinqing sect, the leader of the goddess sect, they all looked solemn and frowned slightly. They knew that Qin Yu was serious and could not be stopped by others with just a few words. They looked at each other, then looked at Chu Xun and said silently, "Let them fight. If Chu Xun dares to come, he may not be able to stop him." Trump card, don't forget that Jiang Chen from the Yin ruins killed old monster Zhao with a sword. The following few nodded silently. They had also heard about this matter. They just didn't care that the talisman contained the attack of Elder Chu. A few months ago, they witnessed Chu Xun being in danger by Qin Yu. It has only been a few months. Even if there is an outbreak, it is impossible to reach that level. Here it comes, that the master of Xianxia Palace, the master of Fuyue sect, the eyes of the leaders of these top forces are full of curiosity. As for Lu Nantian of Zhenwu sect, he is happy to see this scene. If Qin Yu kills Chu Xun today, the biggest gain will be Zhenwu sect. Even if the saint of Donglin sect is revived in anger, he will rush to Xiandao sect, and it will not be the turn of Zhenwu sect, but he also secretly sighed in his heart that Qin Yu really knows how to pick the time. At this time point, even if Chu Xun is really killed, the revived saint of Donglin sect will not pose much threat. Several saints in the East region have united, they are expelling the demon sect. No one is allowed to interrupt, they would not allow the loss of a saint before finding the Blue Bull Demon Lord. Therefore, even if the saint of Donglin sect revived, the greatest probability was that several saints in the East region would join forces to oppress him, forcing him to retreat again or die on the spot. There would be no other choice, therefore, if Chu Xun did not have a trump card today, he was doomed to die in vain. Chapter 62, Retreat 100 Miles. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The situation is tense, the atmosphere was heightened to the extreme. Qin Yu seemed to be bathed in golden divine flowers, and streaks of extremely bright golden light swept across the sky, like a bolt of lightning, splitting with the scene of His Highness on the snow mountain, the master of the Xianxia Palace, the leader of Fuyue sect. The sect leaders of these top forces also quickly dodged, with jests in their eyes. After they were safe, their greedy hearts were ready to move again. The Holy Land in the East has been standing in the Eastern Territory for too long, and it is time to change their positions and let the newcomers take over. Xiao Rongyu was severely injured by the forbidden spell earlier. If Chu Xun falls again, he will truly deserve his reputation. Those who go to the theater go to the theater, just watch the excitement, but no one was optimistic about Chu Xun. Why bother? Chu Xun said softly, since he dared to come, he was sure of himself. Furthermore, his talisman outside the Yin ruins had already shown its strength. Why did these people still not believe it? Qin Yu saw Chu Xun's thoughts, and his expression was full of sarcasm and ridicule. His whole body was filled with golden light, and he was ready to kill with one strike. He sneered, if it's that kind of magic paper that fools people, it will be better than anything else. It's available, I'd like to see how many you have. Sigh quietly, it's obvious that his cultivation level has been exposed, these people still don't believe it. still not giving up. Then let's fulfill that, Chu Xun said slowly, his eyes falling on the top of the snow-capped mountains below. As his thoughts surged, an invisible sword condensed in his palm, and he swung it down lightly. TSK. All of a sudden, a condensed unparalleled sword intent, like the Milky Way tilting from the 9 heavens, was dazzling and dazzling. The pupils of those who were still watching the show shrank, showing strong shock. A fierce and domineering sword intent was unleashed in the sky, and the sect masters of these top forces only felt as weak and insignificant as ants under the majestic sword intent. The condensed unparalleled sword intent did not cut down quickly, but it made everyone panic, as if doomsday-like pressure would strike them at any time. TSK. Immortal sect Qin Yu's pupils shrank, and the expression on his face changed from ridicule to color change and panic. This sword could kill him, and he retreated crazily without even thinking. Boom. 10 miles, 30 miles, 100 miles, rumble, the sword energy slashed down. It did not hit Qin Yu, but fell in midair. A deep ravine crack turned into an abyss and spread, and wisps of sword intent filled the air, releasing unparalleled domineering sword energy. The joke on the face of the master of the Xianwang Palace disappeared, and he stared blankly at the scene after the sword fell. The sword energy split the void, leaving an abyss like an abyss. Looking down, the shadow of a brilliant sword suddenly reflected in his pupils. Groaned, and quickly closed his eyes, but there was blood dripping from the corners of his eyes. He was shocked. Just take a look, not being targeted by the sword energy, but looking at the remaining sword energy, his eyes were stabbed. What if the sword struck him? The leader of Zhenwu's sect, the leader of Tianji's sect, the leader of the Shenqing sect. The leader of the goddess sect. These few people were trembling slightly when they saw the changes in the master of the Xianwang Palace. They also looked around and saw a domineering sword shadow under the abyss of sword energy. Even if they only glanced at it, they would release powerful sword intent. Destroying everything, they closed their eyes and wiped out the sword intent in it. Although it was much better than the master of the Xianwang Palace, it still took a few breaths of time, and when he opened his eyes again, he felt shocked and extremely uneasy inside. TSK. The remaining sword intent was still growing, but there was no longer a look of ridicule in the sky. Everyone's face was more solemn than ever before, and expressions of shock were fixed there, and some even looked at Qin Yu. Qin Yu, the immortal sect, was still wearing golden armor and holding a golden spear in his hand. His fighting spirit had subsided. His eyes were filled with confusion under the shock. He was ready for Chu Xun to take out the sacred weapon, Ivy Sword. And he also prepared a holy weapon to restrain the Ivy Sword, but Chu Xun did not move the Ivy Sword, and he did not take out the holy weapon. The remaining traces of the swordsmanship in the void were still there, but he couldn't help but his body trembled and spasmed constantly. He wanted to fight again, and raised his fighting spirit over and over again, but he was discouraged halfway through every operation. The remaining sword energy abyss, it's like a ravine, completely cut off his desire to win. He lost, the leader of Fuyue's sect said complicatedly, his face full of tangles. Who could have imagined that it would end like this? There would be no fair fight. It was almost as they expected. This battle would be quick, but the loser had a reverse. Chu Xun only had one sword, then Qin Yu was defeated. Why? Qin Yu, who was hundreds of miles away, was frustrated, his eyes were full of anger, and he was ashamed of his actions. He actually scared Bailey away under the light of Chu Xun's sword, but he was frustrated because Chu Xun was not prepared to hit him with this sword at all. The leader of the Tianji sect also looked at Chu Xun after his mind was trembling. If Chu Xun thought that Qin Yu would not dodge this sword so easily, even if he could really dodge it, he would have to pay a price, and it would not be so easy. Is it because of fear? Afraid of revenge from the saints of the immortal Tao sect. The idea was abandoned as soon as it came up. Maybe it worked for others, but for him, he killed many human emperors from the immortal Tao sect, and even the old monster Zhao from the 9th realm of the human emperor was killed by him with a talisman sword. There is nothing else he dares to do. If he was really afraid, what happened before would not happen, so in his eyes, whether or not to kill Qin Yu might make sense. Disdain. Or unworthy, or too lazy to kill. Chu Xun still stood in the void, the majestic wind blew past, blowing his hair, his expression as calm as ever, and said, "For the sake of Xianxia, I will spare your life, there will be no next time." Qin Yu stood there in a daze. Jinwu sect master, Xinxing sect master, Shen sect master, Tianji sect master, these people also trembled all over, and they didn't expect that this was the reason. Just because they helped Xiao Rongyu in Xianxia, no matter what the purpose was, help is help, and this became the reason for letting Qin Yu live. Qin Yu was also proud. He was not old, and he had the opportunity to impact the saint in this life. It was his pride. Let him roar first. Why should I, Qin Yu, admit human feelings? But seeing the old man's peaceful eyes, his arrogance collapsed, and he had no courage to shout it out, because he was not sure, after he finished speaking, will he be directly greeted by a green vine sword. After all this is done, Chu Xun pulled away. Since the goal has been achieved, there is no need to stay any longer. However, the sky above the Snow Mountain Palace was not peaceful. Heavy breathing accompanied it. One after another, the eyes fell on the remaining abyss sword energy again. Someone was shocked and asked, "What is his cultivation level?" Chapter 63 Lost. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. The leader of the Xianxia sect was silent, thinking that the first time he heard about Chu Xun was that it was suspected that Chu Xun had broken his realm a year ago, and then it was the showdown between the Donglin sect half a year ago, when Chu Xun was just in the fifth realm of the human emperor. Only a few months had passed, and they could no longer see through Chu Xun's cultivation, the 9 realms of the human emperor. Half-saint? Or have you already set foot on the saint? They were not sure that this remaining sword energy was just an understatement of Chu Xun's blow. No one even knew how much strength he used. But even so, it was not something that the 9th realm of the human emperor could withstand. If he exploded with all his strength, using the ivy sword coupled with the day sword intention, how amazing would it be to slash out with one sword? At the very least, he is also a semi-saint. Lu Nantian, the leader of the Zhenwu sect, was silent. This was the realm he had longed for. Once he stepped into that realm, he thought he was not far from being a saint. But he never expected that he would not make much progress before someone has already stepped in. The leader of the Xianxia sect, the leader of Tianji sect, Nangong family, they all chose silence. The master of the Xianwang palace, the leader of Fuyue sect, the leaders of these top forces desperately wanted to hear words of denial from these people. Thinking of the contempt and disdain they and others had for the Donglin sect just now, they then looked at Elder Chu, who had exploded into a semi-saint cultivation in a blink of an eye. They are all heart-trembling and unable to control themselves. Unfortunately, no one denies it. The more it was confirmed, the more uncomfortable they felt, and the more they felt remorse and regret. If they were not so flattering just now, the other 5 holy places were on the line with Chu Xun. When they thought that Chu Xun was very likely to become a saint in the future, they missed the opportunity in vain, and they were so heartbroken that they couldn't breathe. But they caught a glimpse of Qin Yu from the corner of their eyes, and they felt a lot better silently. Although they lost a bit of face, they were just looking down on others and being ignorant. Then Qin Yu would be miserable, thinking of what Qin Yu had just said arrogantly, he doesn't deserve it. Yes. He doesn't deserve it. It's just that the one who doesn't deserve it is not Elder Chu, but Qin Yu. Qin Yu was also under these residual lights, his face was red, no matter how thick-skinned he was, he couldn't hold it in, he angrily flicked his sleeves, and walked away, leaving this place of right and wrong. The leader of Tianji sect, the leader of the Xianxia sect, the leader of Zhenwu sect, Nangong family, these people also turned and left amid the confusion. Only Chu Yaoyao from the goddess sect stood in the sky above the Snow Mountain Palace and paused for a moment. Her beautiful eyes showed complexity, and she whispered softly, "A late bloomer. Have accumulated a lot of experience, that this is everyone's evaluation of Chu Xun, but they never expected that such a person with so much experience would be so terrifying. Breakthroughs in cultivation were as easy as eating and drinking, reaching a level that no one else could reach." Donglin sect, when Chu Xun came back, Elder Wang He, who had been always on tenterhooks, breathed a sigh of relief and immediately greeted him. He nervously asked questions. He was worried about whether Chu Xun had been made trouble by the other two sects, and he was also nervous about what exactly the Snow Mountain Palace was. What's going on? Are you really being sacrificed to blood by someone from the demon cult? As Chu Xun explained calmly, Elder Wang, he was also frightened. He did not expect that such a big thing would happen. What was more shocking was that who could have imagined that it would end like this? Snow Mountain Palace, the power second only to the 6 Holy Lands, just gone, accompanied by a tight sense of crisis. He relaxed after hearing that the saint had personally pursued the murderer. He also said, although I, the saint of Donglin sect, did not participate, sitting here is the best guarantee. The Green Bull Demon Lord should know that I the sage has not yet fallen, and this period is still a safe period. Chu Xun also nodded lightly. At this juncture, he knew that the saint of Donglin sect was about to pass away. No one would provoke a dying saint at this time. Looking back, a saint on the verge of death would not care so much. If he really wanted to, he would pull someone on his back and beat him to death, or even cripple him. No one would mess with such a lunatic, but there are advantages and disadvantages. Once the saint is completely dead, the accumulated conflicts will immediately erupt. Whether it is the immortal Dao sect or the Jianwu sect, they are all holding their breath. Even the Green Bull Demon Lord is coveting the Donglin sect. Delicious, one can imagine the variables that will arise after the saint is seated and passed away. However, Chu Xun didn't want to talk about this at this time, but said, "Where is Jiang Chen? That such a big thing happened today with the demise of the Snow Mountain Palace." The 6 holy places in the eastern region and the top power sect leaders had all gone, but the Jiang family was the only one missing, which made him feel strange. He's not in now. I heard that there was some disagreement within the Jiang family. It was suspected that it was because of the inheritance of the eldest son's identity. Jiang Zhenshan and a group of elders chose to support Jiang Chen, and some decided to support Jiang Ju. In short, it is very confusing now, and I am afraid that I did not go this time. Reason. Elder Wang, he said, "That's it." Chu Xun was thoughtful. He immediately pulled away and left. At the same time, eastern region, a corner of the seaside, an embarrassed figure fell from the void, a red virtual cauldron was placed on its head, and blood was flowing out all the time, which made the fleeing figure reveal anger and distress. That was the qi and blood he had collected through his hard-earned blood sacrifices at the Snow Mountain Palace. He had just refined a lot of the clingy dog-skin plasters from the eastern region and chased after him. Even his red virtual cauldron was cracked by him. Every trace of qi and blood lost. It all made him feel distressed. What a bastard. Wait for me. Sooner or later, I will sacrifice your blood to you one day. The Green Bull Demon Lord's eyes were filled with viciousness. He made up his mind, clasped his hands together, and used a forbidden technique to move forward and blast through the void in front of him. A tunnel appeared, and he passed through it and disappeared. A moment later, several figures descended, a burly and powerful man, an old man holding a Tianji disc, an old woman who walked slowly, and a cold man in a blue and white Taoist robe. After chasing to this place, several people looked at the old man holding the Tianji disc at the same time. The latter turned the Tianji disc in his hand, frowned slightly after a moment and said, "Lost." "Humph," that the burly and tyrannical man snorted in dissatisfaction, and there was anger in his eyes. He had chased to this point and was about to capture and kill him, but he slipped away. He said unhappily, "Did the saint of Donglin sect sit in meditation?" That the slow-moving old woman also frowned slightly, knowing that this was aimed at the saint of Donglin sect. Previously, they worked together to encircle and suppress the Green Bull Demon Lord who was refining blood and qi, and there was a flaw in the formation they arranged. There was a lack of a saint sitting in, otherwise the Green Bull Demon Lord would be doomed. That's why the saint of Jianwu sect was angry. The appearance of the eastern region Green Bull Demon Lord will bring another catastrophe. If the Eastern Lin sect saint had known the situation, he should have come out at the first opportunity. With his dying lifespan, he should have tried his best. With his last breath, he could have severely damaged the Green Bull Demon Lord. With our help, the Green Bull Demon Lord cannot escape this battle, that the old man holding the heavenly secret plate also had a calm expression. He knew what these people were thinking and sighed slightly in his heart. If any one of them was willing to pay a certain price, the Green Bull Demon Lord could have been killed even if the formation was missing and the saint was in charge. It's a pity that these people didn't want to contribute. It would have been fine if they had just made ordinary moves. Seeing that the Green Bull Demon Lord was going to fight for his life, they dodged faster than the other and watched the Green Bull Demon Lord escape, missing the opportunity. Chapter 64 Collusion with the Demons. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. Wow! The Green Bull Demon Lord who escaped from the Void Channel opened his mouth and spurted out rich blood essence. His scarlet eyes were filled with anger and blazing murderous intent, and he said, "These dogskin plasters." Back then, he was hunted down by these saints from the Eastern Territory. He had no way out of heaven and no door on earth. He had to avoid the Yin ruins. If the Yin dynasty hadn't happened to fall at that time, he would have been killed during the search. Unexpectedly, it has been so many years, appear again, still the same ending. Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, the Green Bull Demon Lord showed anger and calmness in his eyes, two contradictory emotions. He was extremely angry but still retained a trace of reason. He gritted his teeth and said, "It is no longer possible to think about blood sacrifices to the power of Snow Mountain Palace, even in the secular world. The dynasties are all colluding with the 6 major forces." By his own efforts, difficult to rise, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth, with a bit of evil, this eastern region, but he is not the only demon cultivator. Eastern region, Jiang's, as the oldest aristocratic family, the inheritance has been for a long time, even longer than that of the Donglin sect. When the family was glorious, not to mention the eastern region, even looking at Zhongzhou, it was a transcendent force. It is a pity that it has declined from generation to generation, and now it can only. He was reduced to becoming the king of the eastern region, now, in the main hall, but a dispute ushered in, the dispute about Jiang's eldest son. Snort. You want to make Xianxia the next head of the family, but I don't agree. A haggard old man's body was filled with glimmering fire, like the remains of a candle, about to burn out the fire of life. Xianxia also looked at the clan elder with a slightly cold expression. The 5th ancestor in the clan was very senior. Even he would call him uncle. However, this man was a little too ignorant of promotion. If you don't cherish your reputation, why are you still participating in this? 5th ancestor, as a descendant, I respect your contribution to the family. But you can't talk nonsense, don't chew your words, and speak with evidence. My son Jiang is unparalleled in his brilliance and talent. He cannot inherit the Jiang family. Who? Jiang Zhenshan said coldly. He. Master Jiang is right. I just have some opinions. At this time, another clan elder spoke. It was Jiang Ju's grandfather. He smiled and said, Jiang Chen's elegance is well known to everyone, but the news that Donglin sect wants to make Jiang Chen his holy son has been spread. The Jiang family, have it's a great opportunity to inherit the Donglin sect, and it will gradually penetrate in the future, so why miss this opportunity? Furthermore, my son Jiangjue is not bad either. Jiang Zhenshan looked at him coldly. Perhaps this last sentence was what the old guy wanted to say. A group of clan elders also looked at each other, and some of them nodded slightly, quite acknowledging that Jiang Ju had made rapid progress in recent times, as if he had taken some medicine, and continued to suppress the younger generation of the clan. His demeanor was not inferior to Jiang Chen, and he could be the head of the Jiang family. Jiang's back mountain. Forbidden Land, a young man with a handsome appearance and aloof temperament stood there with a frown. In front of him was the Jiang family's forbidden area. The suppressor inside was a demon. He caused trouble back then and was suppressed by the ancestors of the Jiang family. After many years, it has never been refined. Why are you still hesitating? Next to Jiang Ju, there was also a person standing. If Jiang Chen were here, he would be very familiar with it. Isn't this his old rival, Yi Chen, the son of destiny? I'm hesitating. This way. Will it cause big trouble? Jiang Ju frowned tightly, with a look of hesitation on his face. Oh, this is your last chance. Today, all the elders of the Jiang family went to the main hall to discuss and debate. Even the Snow Mountain Palace was destroyed. No one came over. If you miss this opportunity, you, the eldest son of the Jiang family, will never dream of it. Go ahead, don't tell me, you naively thought you could really defeat Jiang Chen. Yi Chen mocked. Jiang Ju looked relaxed. He was both afraid and coveted when it came to that elder brother. All the younger generations of the Jiang family have lived under Jiang Chen's nightmare since childhood, and he was no exception. He still remembered that he had learned a magical power through hard work. In the blink of an eye, Jiang Chen was practicing several magical powers. An unexpected breakthrough in enlightenment made him secretly happy, but in the blink of an eye, he saw that Jiang Chen had already broken through several realms, and his cultivation was far beyond theirs. Such a big brother really made it difficult for him to resist, but things have changed since Jiang Chen left. It's like I'm blessed with luck, continuous transformation. Put it a few days ago, he also wanted to challenge Jiang Chen head-on, to defeat him openly and replace him as the eldest son. However, in the battle outside Yin Ruins, Jiang Chen defeated Yi Chen lightly, making him realize that there was still a big gap between him and this elder brother. The distance cannot be compensated by just 2 or 3 magical powers, and the fear of the past also surges into my heart again. Now, under Yi Chen's temptation, he came to Jiang's forbidden area. Unlock the seal of the forbidden area. One of the seniors of the Jiang family who is in charge of the forbidden area is from Jiang Chen's lineage. He will bear the brunt of the outbreak in the forbidden area and cannot escape responsibility. However, if people from Jiang Chen's lineage want to make up for the damage, they can only bite the bullet and say less. Several, or even a dozen, will be killed. Once Jiang Chen's lineage is weakened to the extreme, your chance will come. Jiang Ju still had the last hesitation on his face. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for Jiang Chen to come back? I know Jiang Chen is already on the way. Once he gets to the clan. Someone suggested that you two should fight to determine the eldest son. When the time comes, do you still have any hope? Being crushed in public, even the lineage that supports you will be shaken. You have no choice, either to lift the seal, or, to be a loser, unable to raise your head for the rest of your life, living under the shadow of Jiang Chen. Yi Chen said with a cold expression and dim pupils. No. I don't want to live under his shadow for the rest of my life. Jiang Ju's pupils shrank violently, his expression fluctuated violently, and he was determined not to hesitate about this matter. He stretched out his palm and there was a piece of black talisman paper, releasing strands of demonic nature. Under his determination, he slapped it towards the forbidden area of the Jiang family. Rumble, with violent tremors, the earth shook. The elders who were discussing matters in the Jiang clan's main hall suddenly changed color and asked, "What's going on?" Forbidden Land. It's the Forbidden Land in the back mountain. Jiang Jinshan woke up belatedly and his expression suddenly changed. He knew what was suppressed in the Forbidden Land in the back mountain. The Jiang clan had been in the east region for a long time, and during this time, they suppressed more than one demon or evil monster. If they were allowed to run away, the entire Jiang clan would be in danger. Chapter 65 Jiang Family Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a long time, Jiang's main hall, Jiang Jinshan returned with a tired look on his face, along with a group of clan elders. However, these people were all depressed and their faces were gloomy. The forbidden area in the back mountain revived for some unknown reason. A demon cultivator almost took the opportunity to escape. Even if the Jiang family gathered the power of all the powerful people could barely suppress it, but a powerful person in the 8th realm of the human sovereign died because of it. What makes Jiang Jinshan feel chilling the most is that this strong man is his right-hand man, helping him all the way. He can have such a smooth sailing in Jiang's family. The latter has put in a lot of efforts, but now he has fallen like this. Not only is he heartbroken, but he is also worried. A burst of sadness. Snort. Where's Lao Shi? I can't even guard the forbidden area. There's no need to guard anymore. Force him to face a cliff and think about his mistakes. Jiang Jinshan suppressed the grief in his heart, and his eyes gradually became sharper. His pupils were very cold when he stared at the fifth patriarch. He smelled the crisis and targeting in these words, the forbidden area behind the mountain erupted, a strong man fell. If Lao Shi is removed from Jiang's right to speak again, then it will be difficult for the people of his own group to control the sovereignty, and the five patriarchs only need to win over those neutral factions. When the other group becomes more powerful, it may not be impossible for Jiang Ju to ascend the throne, it's just that Jiang Jinshan's eyes are very cold. He can't believe that people from Jiang Ju's lineage dare to disrespectfully cause trouble in the forbidden area for the sake of the younger generation being the eldest son. If it is true, don't blame him for being ruthless, cleaning up the family trouble. Snort. I swear to God. If this is caused by the old man, I will cut off my lineage. Although there are differences in the younger generation's appointment as the eldest son, the old man is not stupid enough to bring chaos to the entire Jiang family. The fifth ancestor swore to the sky with anger on his face. Jiang Jinshan suppressed the anger in his heart. Hope so, the silver-haired master of the six clans, who had previously strongly protected Jiang Chen in Yin ruins and was a supporter of Jiang Chen's lineage, also swept across the hall with murderous intent and said domineeringly, if I know that any of you dare to do things in the forbidden area, I made him regret living this life. Snort. Third grandpa, a supporter of Jiang Ju's lineage, said coldly, it's useless to talk about these things. Let's talk about how to solve the following things. The forbidden area is in turmoil, just paid a huge price, it was just a forced retreat, after a while, we'll also rush out, this trouble must be solved. With the strength of our Jiang family, it is already difficult to defeat it. To seal it again, we can only ask for foreign aid. Said the old Jiang family member who chose the neutral faction with a sad look, please ask for foreign aid. There was a slight silence in the hall, there was more or less shame on his face, as the oldest force, the Jiang family was also the dominant force in the Chinese mainland back then. Unexpectedly, it fell again and again. Now even the eastern region needs to call in foreign aid. His face turned red with embarrassment, but it has to be solved eventually. Please, that even the fifth ancestor who had just clamored to have his eldest son sighed complicatedly. Who do you want to invite? Xian Dao sect. Zhenwuzong. Goddess sect. Qinji sect. None of this has anything to do with the Jiang family. They even wish that there would be unrest in the Jiang family. It would be best to exterminate the clan, so that there would be one less transcendent force in the eastern region, and they would be able to increase their say. Chu Xun. Suddenly, Jiang Jinshan thought of the ordinary old man in the Sutra Pavilion, with strong trust in his eyes. If he was invited, he would definitely be able to solve the matter. That the elders of the three clans saw through Jiang Jinshan's thoughts and laughed. Master Jiang, are you still thinking about it at this time? Even you and I are no match for the Forbidden Land, and he, a mere cultivator of the fifth realm of the human emperor, is worthy of participating. Among the centrists, many people also thought of Chu Xun. After hearing this, I also chose to be decadent, yes. Even the Jiang family's masters couldn't solve it, how can Chu Xun be able to solve this problem? The silver-haired elder of the six tribes snorted dissatisfied and said, who said Elder Chu is not worthy of participating? In Yin ruins, Jiang Chen held Chu Xun's talisman and killed old Wei Zhao of the immortal Dao sect with one sword. That was absolutely true. Deducted from the 9 realms of the human emperor. That the eyes of the neutrals were filled with exciting hope. That the elders of the 3 tribes mocked, you believe this nonsense? When the Donglin sect was forced by the immortal Dao sect and the Zhenwu sect, the saint almost recovered. With Chu Xun's strength, how could he even revive the saint? That the silver-haired boss of the 6 clans was furious and said, you fart, you were there that day. The shadow of Chu Xun, holding the Taishan sword, slashed old monster Zhao with one sword. Do you dare to tell me that this was not your own eyes? See. The elders of the 3 tribes laughed and said, you believe it too? Who knows if it is a blind trick, maybe it was left by a saint. but Chu Xun luckily changed it and mistakenly thought it was him, that the fire of hope that had just been raised by the neutral faction was extinguished again, and each of them looked gloomy, and some even had anger in their eyes. This would not work, and that would not work. How could it work? Is it possible that the Jiang family would have to be exterminated? Seeing that the heat was almost over, the elders of the three tribes said leisurely, "Son Jiangju, know Yi Chen of the immortal sect. If you don't know this person, you can ask a little bit. In recent years, he has also been a young man who has been in the limelight. He came from the edge of the Eastern Territory. Step by step, I have reached the point where I am extremely talented and determined, far beyond my age." The elders of all clans nodded lightly. Being able to come from the corner of the Eastern Territory and still maintain their unparalleled splendor has proven their talent, character, and wisdom. Otherwise, they would not be alive today. It just so happens that my grandson is a close friend of his. If he is led by this person, he may be able to invite fellow Taoists from the Xiandao sect, and even saints from the Xiandao sect, to help my Jiang family eliminate future troubles. Really? Really? In an instant, the neutral faction that was still wavering showed hopeful looks, they whispered to each other, they also murmured curiously. Yi Chen. Who do you need? Is he really that powerful? Seeing that the situation in the field was developing in a good direction, the third clan master also had a happy smile on his face. He never expected that the forbidden land in the back mountain would suddenly explode today. It was really God's help to his branch. Oh. Yi Chen. Is it the little character who was almost beheaded by my casual sword? Suddenly, a cold and arrogant voice fell into the hall, stopping the chaotic voices, and a line of sight fell along the trend, and saw a handsome young man with a jade-like spirit slowly entering the hall. He has a transcendent temperament, white clothes are whiter than snow, and he slowly steps forward. Although he is a young generation, he puts the strongest pressure on many elders in their hearts, not in his cultivation, but in his temperament. He has been invincible in the East region for a long time, he has been tempered with invincibility, the changes in the luck of the outside world, this has led to an inexplicable transcendence in him. Jiang Chen. My son. In the hall, Jiang Zhenshan, who had frowned, suddenly smiled like a chrysanthemum, especially when he saw the earth-shaking changes in his son's temperament. His smile became even stronger. In a corner of the hall, a young man's face froze, and he clenched his fists tightly, and then clenched them again. He was none other than Yi Chen, who had just finished working with Jiang Chen in the forbidden area in the back mountain and came here to watch. Hearing the three elders praising him so much, Yi Chen remained calm on the surface but smiled in his heart. Who would have thought that a slap would come when he was in the prime of his pride? Chapter 66 Tenfold Return. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. Jiang Chen. Cousin. Jiangju was also in the corner at the back of the hall, looking at the young man who walked into the hall grandly, with jealousy in his eyes reaching the extreme. He was also a genius of the Jiang family, so he could only watch secretly from a corner of the hall, but his cousin did not need to inform him. You can enter the palace grandly, but no one thinks there is a problem. Snort. The faces of the elders of the three clans were slightly cold, and the momentum they had finally built up was extinguished by this junior's words. There was no trace left, and the clan elders who had just lost their minds all woke up. Ha! That seems to be the case. Jiang Chen did defeat a genius outside the Yin ruins, and even provoked Lao Lu to almost have a fight with the immortal Dao sect. He didn't think anything of it at the time, but now it seems that Yi Chen is nothing more than that. Maybe Jiang Chen defeated so many geniuses that it's no surprise that he didn't even care. If you say so, Yi Chen is really nothing. I thought he was some kind of peerless genius, but it turned out to be him. The silver-haired old man pretended to be thoughtful, which was not very harmful but extremely insulting. Yi Chen's face was as black as coal in the corner of the hall. Snort. At the critical moment, the master of the three clans couldn't stand it anymore and said coldly, "Don't you think it's too much? Can I, the Jiang family, resolve this crisis and return the scepter to this little friend? I have reduced him to nothing. Is it possible that I have to turn a blind eye? Watching the Xiandao sect break up with the Jiang family so that they can see the Jiang family enter a desperate situation. It's not a desperate situation. As long as I invite my master, all these troubles won't be a problem. Jiang Chen, dressed in white as snow, spotless, stood quietly in the hall, not giving anyone a chance to speak, and continued, if you don't know you can go find out about the major events that happened in the Eastern Territory today. All the clan elders looked confused. Event, what big things can happen in the Eastern region recently? Wasn't it just a snow mountain palace that was sacrificed to blood? At this time, an elder in charge of the intelligence department walked into the hall excitedly, with a smile on his face and said happily, good news, guess what happened today? That the elders of the three tribes felt a slight thump in their hearts, with a vague premonition of ominousness. They heard the elder laughing and saying, Elder Chu from the Donglin sect is so awesome. Who would have thought that after not seeing each other for just a few months, he would already have half of his cultivation level? Holy! The pupils of many elders from the clans present shrank and gradually enlarged. They felt strong shocks and unimaginable premonitions in their hearts. Even the silver-haired elders from the 6 clans were surprised and said, what did you say? Half-saint. Half-saint cultivation. It's absolutely true. The elder in charge of the intelligence swore and said in full agreement, conservation is a semi-saint cultivation, maybe even the realm of a saint. As he slowly elaborated, there was a deathly silence in the hall. Who would have thought that it would be in this situation? It was just a short day without going to the Snow Mountain Palace that such a big event happened. Ha 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 ha. Okay. As expected of Elder Chu. My son really has a good teacher. Jiang Jinshan swept away the decadence and gloom on his face, and smiled again. His bold voice filled the hall. Those who originally chose the neutral faction were shaken. If Jiang Chen's teacher is really so powerful, then the identity of the eldest son will have to be cautious. A senior who has the potential to break through to the Holy Realm, and may even break through to the Holy Realm in the near future, has a great influence. My son. Contact Elder Chu quickly. Invite him to the clan. Jiang Jinshan laughed heartily. System. Exist. Accept the reward. Chu Xun, who was in the Sutra Pavilion, also said leisurely that he had earlier rejected the disciple's gift and chose the second option. Now is the time to accept the reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, 3 years of cultivation. Congratulations to the host for receiving the inheritance, 1 chi can transform the 3 pure ones. Congratulations to the host for receiving the reward, an investment opportunity. That I had already expected the system's tenfold reward, but the moment these 3 things came out, my eyes were filled with surprise and unexpected joy. The first thing is to reward 3 years of cultivation. This kind of thing is not unfamiliar, have even used it once, quite familiar. The last thing is to reward an investment opportunity. This kind of thing is not unfamiliar either, also quite skilled. Only this second one, reward inheritance. 1 chi transforms the 3 pure ones, such. A thing made Chu Xun's eyes show ardor and a hint of excitement, and he murmured, could it be something like that? In his previous life, Chu Xun read many classic novels, and almost all of them contained such an inheritance, and even such techniques were also circulated in mythological traditions. It is created and opened up by the Supreme Taoist Master. 1 chi can transform the 3 pure ones. 1 person can have the combat power of 3 people, and it is also compatible. If the 3 are united, they will also burst into infinite cultivation. Buzz, a large amount of inheritance poured into my mind. I put down the scriptures in my hands and closed my eyes to slowly comprehend. After a long time, open your eyes slowly, revealing strange colors. Really, it is the rumored supreme practice method. 1 chi transforms 3 purities, which is divided into several realms. If you practice the first heaven, you can differentiate into a Tao body that is equal to your own strength. If you practice the second heaven, you can divide into a Tao body. The third heaven is the fusion deity, and its strength doubles and skyrockets with each fusion. Unbelievable, Chu Xun's eyes were filled with amazement. He had never heard of any secret technique in Shenzhou that could make a person's strength soar by dozens of times, but if this Qihua Sanqing was practiced to the limit, it could achieve this step. Not only that, once this method was practiced, the original body would be safer. No one knew that he had two incarnations at the same time. Even if the incarnation or the main body accidentally fell, as long as there was still one, it could be recondensed and returned to the peak. Spit out the turbid air, revealing a strange color, temporarily suppress the joy in the heart, close your eyes, accept the complete inheritance. This practice, it took more than a month. There is no time in the mountains, 1,000 years in a blink of an eye. Being in the Sutra Pavilion, inheriting this supreme inheritance directly blocked the entire space, which means that even if you want to read the human emperor level scriptures recently, you can't do it. After more than a month, the old man with white clothes and white beard who was sitting cross-legged in the Sutra Pavilion was silent for more than a month. His body suddenly trembled a little, and he was seen making seals with his hands. That when the seal was formed, a mysterious and majestic force suddenly spread between heaven and earth. There was an invisible side blade of the great Tao above the sky, which was bright and dazzling, and the dazzling light even overwhelmed the sun in the sky. It seemed that only Chu Xun could see this side blade. One chi becomes the three pure ones. The blade that cuts me, Chu Xun whispered softly, and saw that the side blade suddenly cut down, ignoring space, ignoring distance, ignoring all obstacles, and cut directly into his forehead, cutting down heavily, passing everything. Pop! A hazy and blurred figure came out of Chu Xun's body and appeared on his right side. As the side blade of the great Tao cut down again, the blurred figure stared completely. Two figures appeared in the Sutra Library. Chapter 67. Sorry, I'm late. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I'm Chu Xun. I'm Chu Xun. Two figures appeared in the Sutra Pavilion. One was wearing a black robe and the other was wearing a white robe. They had the same appearance, the same temperament, and most importantly, the same cultivation level. They couldn't help but smile when they looked at each other. It's done. Chu Xun, who was dressed in black, was the original deity. He looked at the incarnation coming out on the right with a strange look on his face. This avatar had the same level of cultivation and mastery of martial arts as himself. System. Exist. Carry 3 years of cultivation. Chu Xun's gentle eyes showed peace. He had not forgotten that he still had such an important reward, especially at this juncture. He didn't know how far his cultivation in the past 3 years could push him. Wow! The cultivation level within the body began to grow rapidly. It's like everything comes naturally. It also seems to have come from years of practice. To all of it, Chu Xun was not surprised at all. Close your eyes and realize it silently. If others had gained a huge level of cultivation all at once, they would not be able to master it. However, he has been reading books in the Sutra Pavilion for many years and has already reached the state of mind. The only thing he lacks is his cultivation level. Now he is just letting nature take its course, and it is particularly difficult to master it. Easy, not even the slightest surprise. Boo! The 9 realms of the human emperor were naturally broken, and the breakthroughs continue. When his cultivation reached the peak of the 9th realm of the human emperor and he was about to attack the half-saint, Chu Xun held back and murmured, the remaining cultivation is not enough to support the attack on the half-saint. Wait a moment. Moreover, he also has his own ambitions in his heart. The stage of semi-saint can be stepped into, but it can't be stepped in. Originally, there was no such thing as semi-saint in cultivation, but later some practitioners found it too difficult to break through to the realm of saint, so they chose to be slow. Take a step back, take 1 foot out first, then take the 2nd foot out, and break through to the holy realm. This approach seemed to him completely unnecessary. As long as you have enough savings, it is completely possible to become a saint in 1 step. Hold on. Chu Xun murmured softly and dispersed the formation on the 8th floor of the Sutra Pavilion. He looked out the window with curiosity, wondering if anything major had happened to the outside world while he was in seclusion for more than a month. Whoosh! A figure came quickly. It was Elder Wang He. No one has arrived yet, the complaints came. Elder Chu. You are finally out of seclusion. Chu Xun looked at Elder Wang He with a smile, knowing that he was not in a hurry, otherwise he would have come to the 8th floor of the Sutra Pavilion to disturb him. He also smiled and said, "Why is there something big happening in the eastern region?" Elder Wang He said bitterly, "If there is no major event, the Green Bull Demon Lord has hidden his whereabouts during this period." Instead, small demon cultivators from various places continue to appear. It may be that the Green Bull Demon Lord summons his former subordinates, and there is another. The first possibility is that the Green Bull Demon Lord spreads the magic power he controls. Chu Xun looked a little solemn. If it's the former, that's fine. The latter is troublesome. Once the magic power is dispersed, those who follow crooked ways and only want to get something for nothing will still be a scourge to the eastern region and need to be suppressed quickly. However, these have nothing to do with the Donglin sect for the time being. Instead, the Jiang family has a problem. As the oldest family in the eastern region, it is older than our Donglin sect. The clan also suppresses demon cultivators and evil spirits. In the previous paragraph there was trouble in Jiang's forbidden area, and Xianxia came to ask for help and wanted you to go there. Wang He observed Chu Xun's expression and said hesitantly, "Headmaster Xiao and I don't want you to go." It's too dangerous. Wang He sighed, even though he felt sorry for Jiang. Earlier, Jiang Zhinshan had always been on Donglin sect's side, but now it's hard to say that he didn't go to help when he was in crisis, but he thought of Donglin sect's current embarrassment. However, he still tried to dissuade her without conscience, saying, "I really don't want you to go." Chu Xun shook his head slightly and said, "Go." He knew what Elder Wang He was worried about. His cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. This kind of breakthrough would probably be extremely fearful to the saints. This trip might even be ambushed by the saints, and there were many dangers. However, Jiang Zhinshan treated him well, especially his eldest disciple Jiang. He should also get over it in terms of face. Elder Chu. Elder Wang He's face tightened. He was afraid that Chu Xun would go, so he tried to dissuade him tactfully. Unexpectedly, it was still useless. He gritted his teeth and said, "Jiang's family can suppress it for a month. I guess it's not a big deal. It's really not possible. Let Head Xiao go there, she can burst into the 9th level of Human Emperor and be enough to replace you." Chu Xun smiled and shook his head. The Jiang family was probably at the end of its rope after being able to suppress it for a month. With the Jiang family's background, there is no difference between one more 9th level of the Human Emperor and one less 9th level of the Human Emperor. Those who can really change the outcome need a saint. At the very least, he needs to be a semi-saint, and Xiao Rongyu is not qualified enough. No need to dissuade. "I've made up my mind," Chu Xun said calmly. If he hadn't practiced one qi transformation into 3 purities, he might still have hesitated a moment or two. Now that he had the confidence, he only needed to go there separately. Even if he was ambushed by a saint on the way, it wouldn't hurt. He could also switch from the front to the back. Besides, the saint would not drop his price enough to ambush a junior like him. If the saint of Donglin sect is still in his prime, I am afraid that the saint of Xiandao sect will be ready to make a move, and the saint of Donglin sect is about to be enthroned. They are not stingy enough to wait for this time. Elder Wang He wanted to dissuade him, but looking at Chu Xun's determined look, he also said complicatedly, "Then please pay attention to your safety. This is a token. If you crush it at a critical moment, the saints of our sect will be there for you as soon as possible. Get there." Chu Xun was slightly surprised, knowing how precious this token was. At the same time, Jiang's rumble, roar. Waves of roars were transmitted from the back mountain of the sect, and the aftermath of the release had already turned the area into ruins. After Jiang Zhinshan teamed up with several clan elders to suppress it again, he stood in the void with a tired face, his eyes looking at the Donglin sect. Direction, there was sadness and regret in his eyes. At this time, no one was laughing at his unrealistic fantasies anymore, even he himself gave up. "It's been a month," it has been a month since the news was delivered. Xiang Donglinzong's request for help fell into vain, no news at all. Even the most naive person knows that Donglin sect is not planning anyone to come. With a bitter smile, he also knows that his expectations are too high. He knows better than anyone what state Donglin sect is currently in. He is counting on Elder Chu to break it. Saint, re-stabilize the position of Donglin sect. If this time we assist Jiang to get out of the sect and encounter an ambush or accident on the way, then Donglin sect will be doomed. If he were Elder Chu, he would not choose to go out at this time. This month of silence and no response is the best answer. He said complexly, my expectations are too high. That the silver-haired elder of the 6 clans was also holding fire in his heart, but it was not directed at Chu Xun, but said angrily, if there hadn't been a problem with old Ten guarding the forbidden area, how could I, the Jiang family, have ended up in this situation? Jiang Jinshan didn't want to discuss this, so he asked instead, what's the situation of the clan members now? Transferred. Jiang Jinshan turned around and looked at his ancestral land where he had lived for generations. Generations of clansmen had practiced here. During this period, quasi-emperors with strong cultivation levels were born, and countless outstanding people were born. He never thought that in his own generation, all the ancestral land was lost. His eyes were wet. He nodded silently and said, it's good to leave. You can leave the Green Mountains without worrying about having no firewood. Jie. You can't block me for long. Boom boom boom. There was a vibration in the forbidden area of the back mountain, but the scale was not enough to break through the formation. Jiang Jinshan just looked down indifferently, and the elders of the Jiang clan who were sitting cross-legged in the air were all silent. They knew that there would be several more times, no more than 3 times. This band demon will completely break out of the formation and will no longer be able to retreat. Recuperate. Adjustment of status. Prepare for a decisive battle in a few days, Jiang Jinshan said tiredly. Hearing this, the other clan elders also closed their eyes and recharged their batteries, preparing to fight to the death when the demon broke through the formation. They might suffer many losses, but they had no way out. Feel sorry. I'm late. Just when these people closed their eyes, their hearts were still, and they no longer held any illusions and hopes. A gentle voice slowly fell. Chapter 68, Start the Battle. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. The first person to open his eyes was Jiang Jinshan. This middle-aged man with a tired face suddenly opened his tired eyes and saw the old man in green robe standing peacefully in the air. This middle-aged man who had always been strong was moved. The eye sockets turned slightly red, and immediately released unparalleled brilliance, which was brighter than ever before. Elder Chu, Jiang Jinshan shouted, his voice loud and full of excitement. At this time, even he had no illusions. Who would have thought that Elder Chu would actually come at the last moment? Feel sorry. I'm late, Chu Xun apologized. Not too late, just right. Jiang Jinshan repeated, his heart full of complexities. During this period, Jiang also tried to go to other places to ask for help. Unfortunately, none of the 6 holy places responded. He tried the warmth and coldness of the world, but in the end he still had to count on Chu. The elder also looked happily at the young man below who was practicing, and felt that he had a good teacher, and the young man in white clothes and snow below looked up at the old man above him with a bright smile. He knew that the teacher would come, he would definitely come. Even if everyone gave up the Donglin sect's aid, he knew that the teacher will come, and now, the teacher he has been waiting for has finally arrived. Chu Xun also nodded lightly. Elder Chu. The rest of the people also opened their eyes one after another. When they saw this ordinary old man, their faces were filled with unconcealable ecstasy. They never thought that he would really come at the critical moment. As for the other elders in the clan, they also found out a ray of spiritual consciousness and fell on Chu Xun. Feeling the unparalleled cultivation level, the peak of the 9th realm of the human emperor was only one step away from the semi-holy capital, and they couldn't help but be shocked. Looked at each other with unspeakable shock. Although they had heard about Chu Xun's strength for a long time, they had never confirmed it. Now they believed it. The last time I saw him was in the 5th realm of the human emperor. This time he reached the peak of the human emperor. Such rapid progress, it's not surprising that the half-saint's strength explodes. I'm really ashamed that I bothered Elder Chu to come all this way. Let's go and wash away the dust for you first, and take out the wine I brewed for 300 years. The silver-haired elder of the 6 tribes said enthusiastically and boldly. I have some small insights. I have been in seclusion for a while and haven't received a letter from my apprentice. Chu Xun said gently. Although there was no need to explain, he still explained it for his apprentice's sake. The silver-haired elder of the 6 clans nodded, and even the other clan elders who chose neutrality had smiles on their faces, and they came one after another, saying, Elder Chu is tired from the journey, and the matter of suppressing the forbidden area is not urgent. Let's go down and have a drink first. Jiang, who was also standing there, had a gentle smile on his face when he saw this. He knew that it was stable. With the arrival of Elder Chu, those who originally chose neutrality all moved closer to him. As long as the forbidden area was suppressed, Jiang Chen was established as the eldest son. The identity of one can no longer be shaken, and the other branch will never become a thing. Not urgent. Take care of the matters in the forbidden area first. Chu Xun said, and slowly stepped forward, reaching the sky above the forbidden area. Looking down, he saw only a layer of golden and complicated magic circle covering the bottom, and under the formation, there was a rich black mist rolled in, all condensed by demonic energy, and there were violent screams from time to time. Jiang said complicatedly, back then, my Jiang family was quite prosperous and imprisoned batches of demons or evil spirits. Some of them were to train their descendants, while others were difficult to suppress. Fortunately, they were imprisoned in this forbidden area and left to their own devices. It is self-destructive. In fact, it has been like this for thousands of years, and there has never been any disaster. Normally speaking, no matter how ferocious the demon is, it will turn into ashes after hundreds of years of training in it, and it will turn into ashes in thousands of years. However, recently, the formation of the forbidden area has become loose, and there are flaws. A demon head broke through several layers of the formation. Came to the outermost level. Chu Xun nodded. View from above, in the rolling clouds, I saw a pair of scarlet and evil eyes, greedy, ferocious, cruel, and incomparable hatred and madness. This is the first impression of the owner of those eyes. The mood is unsteady in this scarlet eye. Inner demons will be introduced under the pupils, and they may even become useless. What a cruel demon, Jiang also followed. Later, this demon will accumulate strength and attack again. When the time comes, Elder Chu will go all out and just force it back deeper into the forbidden area. At that time, we will have our sealing formation to make it difficult to escape, and this rescue will be completed. Forced to retreat. Right, the silver-haired elder of the 6 clans also came over, his face full of solemnity, and said, I know this process is very difficult, but don't worry, Elder Chu, many elders of the Jiang clan, and the 2 ancestors will work together to contain it. Together with Elder Chu, we are fully capable of defeating it again. 9 elders, 5 elders. 10 clan elders. These few people also came over and said, when the situation becomes unstoppable, Elder Chu can leave. This is the forbidden area of my Jiang family, and we should guard it in the end. Jia, the demon in the formation could feel the movements of the outside world, and said sarcastically, I thought the Jiang family had invited some kind of foreign aid, but it turned out to be just a small human emperor in the 9th realm. When I get out, I will devour your flesh and blood. Boom! Boom! This demon head hit the formation again and again, and the raging demonic energy boiled. He stared at Chu Xun with ferocious eyes full of teasing. The little human emperor in the 9th realm could not make waves. It seemed that no one could stop him this time. Couldn't help but go out on my own. Let go of the formation, Chu Xun said calmly. Open the formation. Chu Xun said again. The Jiang family thought they had heard wrong. When Chu Xun confirmed this, they turned their heads in astonishment, both incredulous and shocked. What did Elder Chu want to do? Open the formation. Jiang Jinshan also said. The other elders hesitated for a moment, thinking that even if the formation was not opened, the demon would not be sealed for a few days, so they opened a corner of the formation. Suddenly, the situation changed and the demonic energy was rising. He he he. He he he. A perverse evil laugh, a figure condensed from the black fog stood in the air, with sarcasm in his eyes. He looked at Chu Xun and sneered. I didn't expect it. I thought I would be trapped for a few more days. I didn't expect that your words would open the formation for me. To thank you, I can only eat you first. The demon's eyes flashed with sarcasm, and then he stomped his feet fiercely. He saw that the monstrous demonic energy turned into a 1,000-foot-long demon claw, piercing through the void and fiercely grabbing Chu Xun. How terrifying! Jiang Jinshan and others took a deep breath. Even though it was not the first time they encountered this suppressed demon, they still felt an extreme threat. Chapter 69 The Sword Comes. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. Boom boom boom. The terrifying demon claws approached. Jiang Jinshan and others hurriedly reminded, and they were ready to help at any time. That's it. The old man in a green mountain robe slowly raised his head, with a bit of boredom in his warm eyes, which made the demon head tremble for no reason. Feeling an unprecedented threat, the demon claws accelerated the suppression. The elders of the Jiang family also trembled for no reason when they heard Chu Xun's contemptuous words. I don't know if Chu Xun was too pretentious or too strong. The demon energy rolled and boiled wildly, condensing above. The dark magic power made the strong men of the 9th realm of the human emperor tremble and admit that they were no match for him. 8 desolate palms. Chu Xun only saw Chu Xun gently raise his palm, and there was a kind of withering in the palm, which was the power of desolation. It's been too long since I used it. Chu Xun's eyes were filled with reminiscence and emotion. With the gradual improvement of his swordsmanship, this palm method was almost forgotten by him. Now it was activated, and a millstone-sized earth-yellow palm was suspended in the air, accompanied by suppression, containing a strong attraction. The moment it touched the 1,000-foot devil's claw, the latter fell apart directly. Not only that, the power of desolation also brought a powerful devouring force, devouring the life essence of the devil's claw unscrupulously. Screech. Fear was revealed in the eyes of the devil. He was not afraid of swordsmanship or magical powers, but he was afraid of the loss of vitality. He had been suppressed for 1,000 years and had been weakened to the extreme. He was even weaker than the Green Bull Demon Lord. Every drop of life essence was extremely important. How could he endure the devouring of the palm? He gritted his teeth and said angrily, "Get out." Bang! He cut off the connection with the devil's claw himself. Chu Xun still had an indifferent look in his eyes, his black hair fluttering, looking down coldly like a high god, and said, "Too weak, vulnerable." Bang! The 8 desolate palms continued to descend, under the gaze of everyone. With a bang, it suppressed the devil. Crack! Crack! Bang! It took less than a breath. The devil exploded. The demonic energy on the sky gradually dissipated. Jiang Jinshan, many elders had astonished expressions on their faces. Even the silver-haired elder and the 6th elder stayed there. They had seen Chu Xun's talisman paper and knew that he was very strong, but they never expected him to be so strong. It was killed in 1 second. Jiang Jinshan was also swallowing his saliva wildly. His head was buzzing. This demon that had troubled the Jiang family for more than a month, and even felt the crisis of life and death, and all the members of the family were moved away. Was it so easy to suppress and kill? Or killed in 1 second, from beginning to end? It only took a breath. Gulong. Gulong. 3 elders, 5 ancestors, people who chose neutrality, all were silent. They all stared at the green-shirt figure standing in the air, and thousands of waves rolled up in their hearts. Facing those surprised looks, Chu Xun was as calm as ever. As he looked down slowly, he whispered, "It's not solved yet. It's just an incarnation." that just as the faces of the elders of the Jiang family were blank, they heard a strange laugh from under the cracked formation. I didn't expect that a half-saint would appear. I wonder how the Jiang family is so confident that they can open the formation just by saying so. Hearing the familiar voice of the demon, many elders of the Jiang family trembled all over, turned their heads, and stared at the formation. Everyone's scalp was numb. They didn't expect that the demon who had been trapped for 1,000 years did not appear at the first time, but an incarnation appeared out of thin air. This made them feel palpitations and fortunate at the same time. Fortunately, they invited Chu Xun. If it weren't for him, even if they, the Jiang family, tried their best and played all their cards to kill the demon shadow, they would find that it was just an incarnation. It would be too late and would cause a disaster. Elder Chu. Be careful. Xianxia was also concentrating. Although the demon shadow was an incarnation, the strength it showed was beyond the 9th realm of the human emperor. As for the real body of the demon, it was at least a half-saint and should not be underestimated. Buzz buzz buzz, the fog rolled and whistled out from the formation, covering the entire sky in an instant. The huge Jiang clan turned from the scorching sun to dark clouds in an instant, and the demonic energy was boiling, and all this took less than 2 breaths. Tianji sect, the old man holding the Tianji disc could reflect a picture, which was the dense demonic energy above the Jiang clan now, and murmured, "The crisis of the Jiang clan has erupted." Jiang clan had asked him for help before but was rejected by him. The water of the Jiang clan is very deep, far from being as simple as it seems. If you get involved, there will be great danger, so he wants to know how the Jiang clan will deal with it. There was a mirror in front of the Saint of Xinhua sect, which also reflected a picture, which was the current Jiang family. The saint lowered his eyes slightly and observed the changes in things. Goddess sect, Xiandao sect, Xinxing sect, these people were observing the changes of Jiang family through the secret treasure. Under the rolling of the demonic energy, a substantial figure condensed and emerged, and the real demon head was revealed, with 2 horns on his head and dark scales all over his body. This was very strange. He was obviously a human but looked like a ghost. Even Chu Xun showed sympathy and pity in his eyes. Practicing the magic skills made him a ghost. What was he trying to do? He lost his humanity, had no enemies, no friends, and only knew how to sacrifice himself alive to gain powerful cultivation. What could he get in the end? Poor man, this look seemed to stimulate the demon, making him roar fiercely, his face full of ferocity, and said, "Little guy, I have figured out your cultivation. It is not a half-saint, but you rely on some secret technique to force the half-saint cultivation. In fact, you are still in the human emperor realm. Today, you are dead." Roaring fiercely, the cultivation is also rising, the 8th level of the human emperor, the 9th level of the human emperor, half-saint, the peak of the half-saint, saint. When it was only a little bit away from the saint realm, he stopped cultivating. Even so, the rising aura swept over the entire Jiang family, making it difficult for all the elders to breathe. People below the 9th level of the human emperor even had difficulty in slashing in mid-air, let alone helping Chu Xun, Jiang Jinshan, silver-haired old man, the 5th ancestor. These were the few people who could still stand in the air, but they looked nervously at Chu Xun, who was facing the demon, and trembled in their hearts. Our pressure is so terrible. What about Elder Chu? Let's avoid the demon's fierceness first. It can't hold on for long. I will quickly activate the formation. Jiang Jinshan said anxiously, breathing rapidly. No need, Chu Xun said calmly. You know that the struggle is useless. Have you given up? The demon laughed strangely, and his fierceness became more and more fierce. In his heart, he was also on guard against Chu Xun's 8 desolate palms, which was very strange and could devour the essence of life. As long as he avoided this palm, the old thing in front of him would be the lamb. Sword, Chu Xun murmured, in an instant. Buzz buzz buzz. There is a sword mountain in the back mountain of Jiang family. It suddenly trembled. Swords were inserted into the back mountain. Some were broken, some were complete, some were simple, and some were sharp. Thousands of swords had already turned into a sword mountain. Jiang family's sword cultivators often went in to look for opportunities. Unfortunately, these swords were too arrogant and disdained to look at those Jiang family children. Now, with Chu Xun's words of sword coming, thousands of sword mountains trembled, buzz buzz buzz. Almost instantly, it turned into a long rainbow and broke through the air. Chapter 70 Easily Kill. You are listening at NovelFold.audio. What is that? In Jiang's sword mountain, there were elders still guarding him even at this moment, but the elder suddenly felt the sword tremble, and then, a sword suddenly broke through the air. This made the elder look horrified, his eyes full of shock, and he said, "It is one of the 10 famous swords in Jianshan. It has been stuck in Jianshan for thousands of years and no one can take it away. Why did it suddenly fly away today to find its owner?" That he was surprised. Buzz buzz, on the sword mountain, the sword lights suddenly resonated, vibrating together, 1 handle, 2 handles, 3 handles, wow. Almost instantly, thousands of sword lights flew away in all directions, turn into a rainbow, go straight in one direction. This made the elder express nervousness and horror. This was his Jiang family's knowledge of swordsmanship. Even if he had the intention to intercept, the sword on his body trembled and came out in the next second, turning into Changhong submerged into the sword flow, making him dumbfounded. Call out. Boo-hoo! At first, the clan elder of the Jiang clan still didn't understand the meaning of the sword coming, but suddenly he felt countless sharp sword intentions coming from the south. He couldn't help but look around, and his expression could no longer remain calm. He only saw a wandering stegosaurus. Rushing in with a roar, thousands of divine swords flashed with a cold light. Not only that, even their swords broke free from the void ring. Swish, 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 countless sword lights gathered into a swimming dragon, cut through the evil spirit, turn into green light in the world. Come here. Cut. Chu Xun held the wandering dragon and chopped it down with one sword. Huang. Heaven and earth are bright, release infinite brilliance, the sky is filled with sword energy. Jiang Zhenshan, silver-haired old man. 5 ancestors, these 3 people also crossed their arms in front of them to cover up the dazzling light, and their hearts stirred up 1,000 waves, while the elders of the Jiang clan who had already descended below looked at the sword light with dumbfounded eyes. The heavenly demon hidden divine seal, the escaped demon also had the strongest horror in his eyes, with both fear and trembling, as if he couldn't believe that this junior from the 9th realm of the human emperor could explode with such power. How is it possible? You are clearly only in the 9th realm of the human emperor. It looked ferocious, with monstrous demonic energy surging, and bursts of demonic mist turned into huge divine seals, shaking the light of the dragon's sword. Bang! An earth-shattering impact came. Jiang Zhenshan, silver-haired old man, 5 ancestors, they all retreated in shock. All I saw was a ball of light suddenly exploding, like the sun collapsing. The ripples formed instantly swept dozens of miles around, the mountains were instantly flattened, the water pools evaporated immediately, and everything in the world was covered in white. Boom! It was followed by a loud noise, a roar mixed with anger and unwillingness. The demonic energy in the sky was dispersed. Only the sword light lasts forever. Then the forbidden area in House Han fell into deathly silence, after a long time. Dead? The silver-haired old man from the 6 tribes looked blankly, with a bit of disbelief. The demonic energy between heaven and earth was dissipating at a speed visible to the naked eye. There was only one reason for this, and that was that he had just left seclusion. The devil is dead. It's not possible, I'm afraid it's a scam. The elder of the 7 tribes looked solemn. Just now, a demonic figure came over from the demon. Who knows if it was his true form? Besides, the dignified demon saint could be killed so easily. Die. But there was a clan elder who opened his dharma eyes, wanting to see clearly everything in the vast whiteness, but that was not what he could see. The sky was full of sword energy, piercing directly into his pupils, causing his eyes to burn. Blood dripped from the corners of his eyes, and he groaned in pain as he closed his eyes. You can't open your dharma eyes. Jiang Zhenshan also shouted. The elders of the clans could only wait anxiously. Fortunately, it didn't take long. They saw the dazzling light fade away, and a figure in a green shirt stood there peacefully, with thousands of swords suspended behind him. It is Jiang's Jianshan. Wan Jian returns to his clan. Jiang Jianshan, silver-haired old man, 5 ancestors. He was even more shocked by this scene and his breathing became short. After Jiang Jianshan took a breath of cold air, he suppressed the shocking thoughts in his heart, looked around and saw no sign of demonic energy, and tentatively said, "Elder Chu, where is the demon?" "Dead," Chu Xun said. Died? At this moment, the elders of the Jiang family were all immersed in a dream that seemed to be drunk but not drunk. They were all dizzy, thinking of the demons that had made them helpless these days. Even with the help of formations, they could not solve them. The demon saint was just gone, and he couldn't help but said in a daze, "He's really dead." Chu Xun nodded affirmatively. His heavenly eye could not only see the fate of others. Earlier, he opened his heavenly eye and saw that the devil was still in the formation. Only one incarnation appeared, and he easily killed it with the 8 desolate palms. Now his true form when he appeared, he was not wearing an ivy sword. Naturally, he used Jiang's 10,000 swords to kill with one sword. Fortunately, the effect was good. Golan. Jiang Jianshan was also swallowing his saliva, and he was a little sleepy. He felt that everything was going too fast. Both the demonic figure and himself were killed with one move, giving him an unreal illusion. In this decisive battle, Jiang Jianshan was even prepared. He was prepared for a massive hemorrhage, but it was so light and airy that it made him uncomfortable. So dreamy, that the silver-haired old man also murmured in his sleep, feeling that it was unreal, but he also thought that if it weren't for Chu Xun, they might have forced out all their trump cards when facing the demonic shadow. When the real body reappeared, wouldn't they be in a desperate situation? It's not that the devil is weak, he was too strong. Then, an absurd idea suddenly came to everyone's mind: kill the saint. Chu Xun killed the saint. That demon was definitely a saint, otherwise it would be impossible to burst out with such power. After hundreds of years of suppression, he was weakened to the limit, but the power he burst out in an instant was infinitely close to that of a saint. He must be a demon saint without a doubt, but it has become the past, and it was killed, right in front of us. Tianji sect. The old man holding the Tianji plate suddenly frowned. The demonic energy enveloped Jiang family for less than 3 breaths, and a dazzling sword rainbow burst out from Jiang family's interior, turning into a dazzling sword rainbow, and a sword cut down, dispelling the demonic energy in the sky, and the turmoil of Jiang family returned to peace. Solved. The saints of Tianji sect were a little uncertain, because this was too simple. If it was really solved so easily, why did Jiang family ask for help from them earlier? The saint of Zhenwu sect also looked at the mirror in front of him. The demonic energy was boiling and covering the entire mirror surface in the last second. Then a sword rainbow passed by, and the demonic energy in the sky gradually dissipated. In just 2 breaths, there was no demonic energy at all. He wanted to take a closer look, but the Jiang family also had a clan-suppressing item, which could not isolate the Jiang family's sky changes, but the outside world could not peek into the situation inside. Goddess sect, Xiandao sect, Xinqing sect, the saints of these holy places also fell into deep thought. After a long time, they murmured, "The Jiang family has great terror and hides countless trump cards. It is worthy of being the oldest family in the East region."